Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got a video covering the brand new Warhammer 40,000 Earn Challenge and the community event, where you can earn either the Ignis Purgatio or the Teefbreaka, and alongside that, through the community event challenge that's going off, you'll be able to earn up to 50% discount on the brand new Rogul Dawn. So this Warhammer 40,000 Earn Challenge is running from the 23rd of May to the 13th of June. You can earn either the Ignis Purgatio, or you can earn the Teefbreaka, which is here as well. And you can only earn one of them. You have to pick a side. You either choose the Imperium, or you choose the Orcs. So, what do you have to do to be able to get the Ignis? Well, complete Command 1 or Command 2, which is detect 8 vehicles in any number of battles, must deal 300 damage in a battle to count, so you're not getting the AFKers, or deal 10,500 or more damage in any number of battles. So complete one of these two operations, and you will be able to get your Volosad Thasius 2D Commander. At Imperium 2, destroy 20 enemies in any number of battles. You'll get some 4 times Commander XP boosters. At Imperium 3, you complete Command 1 or 2, which is below, so you block 13,000 damage in any number of battles, or deal 42,000 damage in any number of battles, and you will earn yourself a Commander's War Chest and some emblems. At Imperium 4, you will have to complete Command 1 or 2 again, which is destroy 37 vehicles in any number of battles, or assist with 12,000 damage due to your spotting in any number of battles, and you'll get yourself some Ultramarines insignia emblems. At Imperium 5, you will get some inscriptions again, or some Commander's War Chests, and to get that, you will have to detect 15 vehicles in any number of winning battles, or place in the top 10 damage dealers on your team in 25 battles. So it's one of those two to get that one. Imperium 6, you have to place in the top 10 damage dealers on your team 25 times, or earn 71,500 or more XP in any number of battles. One of those two will earn you the Sister Lucia emblem. And for Imperium 7, to be able to get yourself the Ignis Purgatio, if you picked the Imperium and the event emblems and stuff like that, you will have to earn 120,000 XP or more in any number of battles, or destroy 62 or more vehicles in any number of battles. So one of those two will earn you the Ignis Purgatio, which is quite nice. I quite like the structure of this Earn Op, where you can choose which one you're going to go for. Either you assist in 12,000 damage, or you destroy 37 vehicles. You know, it's down to you and how you want to play as to which one you can go for in the Command 1 or 2 as this structure goes along. If you pick the Orcs, you can earn the Teefbreaka, and with the Teefbreaka, you can get the Kroglinder Face Grinder 2D Standard Commander at Tactic 1 or 2, which is, again, detects 8 vehicles in any number of battles, deal 10,500 damage in any number of battles. And then at Orc 2, Tactic 1 or 2 below, which is 42,000 damage in any number of battles, or 8,000 damage due to spotting vehicles. You'll get yourself the War inscription, and the Commander's War Chest. At Orc 3, for Tactic 1 or 2, detect 45 vehicles in any number of battles, or destroy 37 enemy vehicles in any number of battles again, and you'll get yourself the Death Guard icon. So as you can see, it's basically the same. It's just that you get the Orc emblems and inscriptions instead of the Imperium ones, pretty much. So penetrate 150 shots in any number of battles, though, as Tactic 1. That's different. For Orc, whatever that is, brain is failing me now. 5? Orcs 5, right? Yeah, Orcs 5. Brain, sorry, is failing me. So Tactic 1 or 2 to get a Commander's War Chest or the All Shall Rot inscriptions. Penetrate 150 shots in any number of battles for Tactic 1, or place in the top 10 damage dealers on your team in 25 battles or Tactic 2. So you have to pick one of those again. At Orc 6... It's testing my maths here, bro. You've got Tactic 1 for deal 55,000 or more damage in any number of battles, or Tactic 2 for earn 71,500 or more XP in any number of battles, and you will get yourself the Orc Welded Thing emblem. And then you've got the Tactic 2 sorry, not Tactic 2, you've got the Orc Lots, sorry, the Orc Lots. Wow, okay. Where you can earn the Teefbreaka. And like I say, you'll get yourself a tier 9 Mercenary Light Tank, which you have to earn 120,000 XP or more in any number of battles, or destroy 62 or more vehicles in any number of battles, and you'll be able to earn yourself the Teefbreaka there at the end of that. And then the community event is currently ongoing as well. To get points for the community op, you destroy 1 or more vehicles in any number of battles. That will gain you a point, so just get a kill. And you got the Grim Dark Commander, which is destroy 1 or more vehicles in any number of battles while using any of the Warhammer commanders, which will gain you an extra point plus 50% commander XP bonus. So basically, it helps you boost your crew training in that regard as well. So that's all you have to do. You can get 2 points, and with those, you can earn 1,000,000 points. We'll get some Ultramarine icons, emblems. You at number 2 for 2.5 million points from the community will get Evil Suns, the icon of Evil Suns emblem. At 5 million points, we'll get the Rogel Dawn 15% discount and a day of premium. At number 4 for 7.5 million points, we'll get Commander's War Chest with the emblems as well for, is that this is the Eccles? I pronounced that well. At Warhammer 5 for 10 million points, we will get the rations and 30% discount on the Rogel Dawn. At 13 million points, we'll get the Icon of Nurgle. See, I can pronounce Nurgle, that's good enough. And at Warhammer 7 for 17.5 million points, we'll get ourselves some Commander boosters and 50% discount on the Rogel Dawn, which will cost you about 11.5k gold with that 50% discount, which is far better than the ridiculous 22 and a bit k that it costs already. So yeah, that's what you have to do for the Earn Ops for that. You choose either the Imperium or the Orcs, and you'll be able to earn yourself an Ignis or a Teefbreaka. And yeah, so it depends on which one you want as to whether you want a Cold War tank or whether you want the World War II tank. It's down to you and how you like to play. Some people obviously only like to play Cold War. Some people only like to play World War II. It's down to you and your pick. I personally think out of the two that possibly, in terms of how good they are, the Ignis Purgatio is better. But again, it's down to your preference of which game mode you like to play. So what I'm going to do is send you over to the replays where you can watch the two tanks in action, see how they handle, make your choice if you play both modes, you know which one you want to pick, give you the equipment and commander skills, you know, all that good stuff. So as always, everybody, I will see you in the replays. So here we are in the replays, and we're going to start off with two replays in the Teefbreaka, and funnily enough, both are on Cliff from opposite spawns. It's funny how that works sometimes when you get the replays you want to show off for it. So we've got the Teefbreaka. It is an STB1 that they made into a light tank with this Orc skin. It's got a 15-round autoloader that does 80 damage a shot. It's got 216 penetration on its standard APDS rounds and 236 penetration on its premium APDS rounds, which means its standard rounds just don't really cut it that often for a tier 9, which is why we've got a lot more premium than we have standard, because it struggles in so many matchups that you're going to get in, which is really, really annoying, but that means you have to fire quite a lot of premium to actually get the most out of it. And as you've seen, the intricate reload is 0.4 of a second. When you get to unleash this clip on people, you are seeing it. It's an absolute machine gun. The problem is, naturally, that means you really have to catch people unawares, because you can't play it like a conventional tank where you obviously put a shot in for 300 and then pull back. You have to sit there. To dish out this damage, you have to sit there and consistently drop the shots in, which means most of the time you're going to chance it, get 2 or 3 shots in, and then take a hit if you're not careful. So you've got to be very, very careful of that in the Teefbreaka. It's got a very particular playstyle, and it takes a lot to get the most out of it. It can be a struggle as well, depending on the matchup, because of the way it plays, and just the situations you have to get. You can't play that type of game where you just pop out, put 1 shot in for 80, and then pull back, because it just doesn't work. Which, yeah, it just means that this tank is very, very awkward. I didn't like it when I reviewed it the first time, and I'm still not a big fan of it these days, just because of how awkward it is. When you do get those clips in, though, it is super satisfying when it works, but it just doesn't work that often for me. But again, it could be just that I just don't enjoy the playstyle and therefore I don't do that well with it, right? It could be one of those things. It's definitely got the assassin playstyle where you've got to get in, get unawares, and then dump as many as you can in. You've got to know when and where to stop firing, though. And, you know, when you see someone start to look at you, you've just got to pull back instead of just resist. Resist the temptation of just dumping the clip, right? Resist it. So this tank has 0.31 accuracy, which isn't too bad, with a 1.5 second aim time, which means you're basically always going to be aimed in this tank. With an accuracy during movement of 1.75 and an accuracy during rotation of 0.59 with the build we've got, means that your gun doesn't bloom out that much either, so you don't suffer the aim time. And it means when you are firing this gun, it doesn't become super inaccurate after every shot, which means generally you will also hit them quite a lot of the time, which is definitely very nice for the tank. It's just whether you pen them or not. And then in terms of view range with this build that we've got as well, we've got 499 meters of view range, which means we will spot most of the tanks we want to see, because naturally we're a light tank. We want to be trying to get some assistance, and that's great as well. So what kind of equipment and commander setup do I run on this tank? Well, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Camouflage Expertise, Muffled Shot, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun. And in terms of equipment, the Optics, the Vert Stabs, and the Camo Net. I run the Gun Stabilizer to make sure this gun is as good as possible, because if you don't, it's horrendous. The Camo Net, so that you have the best camo you can get out of this vehicle, because you can get the camo down to 265 meters of steel concealment. And the optics, like I say, to be able to spot for yourself, because you're a light tank, we can get the view range up to the 499 meters mark. And then the light tank crew, I run all 3 gun perks, like I say, because the gun is just derpy, so I want to help it out as much as I can. If you don't set it up without the crew skills and the equipment, it's derpy. And then the Camouflage Expertise and the Muffled Shot to make sure that the camo is as good as possible on this tank, and it reduces the amount that I'm going to get spotted in this vehicle. Because it's one of those tanks that you really want to not get spotted for as long as possible while dumping this clip, because then it gives you the opportunity to not take as many hits while you do this to people, as we shut down a Waffle Lee 100. So yeah, that first game in the Teefbreaka, we managed to secure the epic victory, 3 kills, 5.2k damage, 1250 assistance, the first class, the Confederate, with 1819 base XP. A really nice game there for the Teefbreaka. And yeah, the Teefbreaka also has, very much like the Wheelie Boys, a second mode. So if you tap left on the D-pad, you will activate a mode that's very similar to the Wheelie Boys. That means that you don't have to wait. So it activates like the turbo mode on the CS63, right? But instead of having to wait 2 seconds for it to activate, it's immediate. And you get this speed boost, and you will go at 74, 75 kilometers an hour quite easily, but your gun handling becomes utterly atrocious. To get your gun handling back to being good, press left on the D-pad, and then you'll go at a 62 kilometer an hour top speed, and you will get your gun handling back. It works just like the turbo mode, but then it's exactly the same as the Wheelie Boy mechanic instead, where you don't have to wait for it to activate. It just goes while you are moving. So you can get super speedy and then deactivate it and get your gun handling straight back. And you get that by pressing left on the D-pad. Because, like I say, without that, you do go at 62 kilometers an hour, which is still pretty quick. With a 35.37 horsepower per ton ratio, that means you do fly to that top speed as well. So you are a very manoeuvrable tank. The problem for the Teefbreaka as well is the fact that you are the STB1, right? So you are very big for a light tank. As soon as you get spotted, and people look at you, you will catch shots. And that is a pain for the Teefbreaka, is that people don't have any problems whatsoever just going, oh, there's a Teefbreaka, snap, and hitting you. And that's also a big pain for me in this tank, is that you struggle with that light tank playstyle, right? Because people do just snap shots into you, and you just don't block anything naturally because you're a light tank, and then your hit points disappear in the blink of an eye, and yeah, you need those hit points for when you're having to try and dump this clip. It's just a very, very awkward tank. I'm not the biggest fan of it myself, personally. You do have 8 degrees of gun depression, though, which is pretty nice, and you've already seen it being put to use in this replay and the last replay. It can be quite handy, at least. It's not awkward in that regard, and you're not having to battle the gun bobble as well that the STB1 has, because they don't have it on this version. You do have 1265 meters a second shell velocity on the APDS and 1320 on the premium APDS, by the way, which means your shell velocity is pretty damn fantastic as well. So that is definitely a positive for the old Teefbreaka. But yeah, this second replay, we are on Cliff. We're on the opposite side of the spawn. We're on the better spawn for me personally, because this bold position that we've taken at E3 is an incredibly powerful position, and it lets you just have so many areas where you can actually get farming shots towards the enemy tanks. And you can just abuse the people that cross the 5-6 line, you can shoot the people that try and take the hill at E7, and then you can do exactly what we're doing here, where you can go try and spot their campers at C1, and then just try and get damage where you can. As you can see, we're starting to farm this Waffle E100, and it's just gloriously working. So we're up to 2,017 damage. We've just dumped the clip into that Waffle E100. I'm thinking, right, what's next? We know there's a heavy tank somewhere over here. I don't want to take a shot from the IS-22, and obviously the IS-22 is going to also double barrel us if we're not careful. So we're trying to get ourselves into a hull down position, limiting the amount of tank he has to shoot at us, and we do actually ricochet him off our turret, because the turret is actually slightly better than the STB-1, which is quite funny. It's not good, but it's still enough that you can ricochet shots if you do go hull down, depending on what is shooting at you with their penetration values, right? So it is something that you can do in the tank. Do I say to you, absolutely 100% go get hull down in this tank because you're going to have an absolute laugh with it? No, I would not risk it. Just don't risk it. Just play as careful as possible. But just know that if you do decide to, you know, okay, I'm going to go get hull down and limit the amount of tank that they have to shoot at, that they can ricochet off of your turret. It can be quite useful for that. So we're going to go after the tank that is round the back of the cliff. We're going to go pressure the back of the cliff here to go help our platoon mate out. Double pincer this tank, you know, because we might find his rear, and that'd be great. It is the E75. It's like, hello, Mr. E75, surprise! And we fluffed that enough there to just about have to take most of the clip there. We didn't have to kill him with the whole clip, but we fluffed it a little bit there. We're up to 2.9k damage with 2 kills, and I'm thinking about the medium tank on the hill. I'm trying to get myself into a position that's far enough away that I can try and shoot him in the ass, and I'm like, oh no, that's a WZ-120. Oh. Okay, he's just done that. Sure, whatever. And we're going to try and, again, put ourselves in a position where we can try and shoot the Kampfpanzer 50T in the back, where he's going to least suspect it. We're going to be over here at A5. Once again, we'll be in position to start attacking the people that are camping along the 1-2 line, but we can, like I say, also help the people that are down here at the lighthouse to try and get rid of that Kampfpanzer 50T. But as we go to try and spot the tank destroyers, it's like, oh no, that's a Waffle E100. Okay, I don't want to die to that. The Kampfpanzer 50T pops over us and shoots us in the side. It's like, thank you, sir, for doing that. You really need to die. Thankfully, there is a TD climbing up there, though, which means he's going to have his hands full and he's going to have to deal with it. The Waffle E100 comes up, gets tracked. Happily for me, gives us a free little bit of a farm into the side of his turret. Waffle E100s are the dream for the Teefbreaka, and we put the last few shells of our clip into his turret, and he gets shut down by the Conway. Campy Panzer 50T is gone, which means there's 2 tank destroyers left and the artillery. So we're just going to activate our speed mode and get ourselves going. We know where the artillery is. We know one TD is. So it's like, okay, we know where the T-30 is. We know where the artillery is. Where's that Turan? The Turan could kill us in one shot if we're not careful. So the artillery's just been killed by our Turan. The T-30 dies to the general, and I'm like, oh my goodness me, that's a Turan. We are so lucky. I did not expect him to be just sitting in that corner. We were very lucky to not lose any more hit points there. But we'll take the damage. And we finished the game with the victory. 3 kills, the 4.8k damage, 1,002 assistance. The first class with the 1,653 base XP. A pretty damn nice game there again for the Teefbreaka. Showing off what it can do. You see the 15-round autoloader it's got. The damage can rack up really, really quickly if you just start farming with that gun. But the problem is, like I say, that once you've shot someone once, it starts to go downhill because they go, oh, I'm being shot, and they start to turn towards you, and then therefore you don't get the opportunity to keep firing. It's just a very, very awkward tank, I feel, the Teefbreaka. But yeah, it's down to you. I mean, you might still want to earn it for free anyway because you don't play Cold War, and therefore you go for the Teefbreaka. Now we are onto the Ignis Purgatio. And oh boy, yeah, I love this tank. This tank is so much fun. because this gun is memes. Like, when you go full assassin on someone, it's great. You have a pretty good ATGM. You've got great mobility. It's that proper assassin batchat gameplay. You get in there, assassinate someone, and then run away. You've really got to know what you're doing, because you've got to pick your targets. You can't just YOLO into the whole enemy team and kill someone. Generally, you're going to have to know what you do. Wow, that was a great ATGM me. But anyway, you've got to know what you're doing, because you've got to go, okay, I'm picking this guy is dying, and then run away. Because if you run into too many people, naturally all of your hit points are going to disappear, and then your effectiveness in the battle is going to be gone. You've got to find someone that's isolated, get in, assassinate, because it is the king assassin tank. It plays very much like the Bagel Panzer. This was the original, really, but it plays very much like the Bagel Panzer does, or the Modern 1A1, where when you catch someone out that's isolated, you can just nuke their whole hit points very, very quickly. Although it does have pretty low penetration. So it does have 280 penetration on its standard APDS. It has 360 penetration on its premium APFSDS, and then you don't use the HE ever on this tank. So yeah, the standard and premium pen is actually fairly low for an Era 2 tank, which means you do struggle with quite a few tanks, but naturally you are an assassin, so you will get up behind people, and that's where you really want to be. Firing at range is also a bit awkward in this tank, and you're going to see it, where we have to time our shots, because it has a weird recoil, this Ignis Purgatio, that means that a lot of shots will hit the floor if you just go full auto. So you've got to be very, very careful at shooting at distance. Very, very careful. You've got 6 degrees of gun depression like a Batchat does, which means that you're a little bit awkward on a ridgeline, but you're not going to be playing on ridge lines. What you're going to be doing is doing exactly what we've just done to that poor Mobat, where you go, hello, Mr. Mobat, I'm coming for your life now. ATGM them, and then clip them out, and you will just murder them. Because this tank does have a 0.5 second intra-clip reload with that 20-shot clip, which has 150 damage a shot, which means you are dealing 3,000 potential damage in a clip if all of them hit and pen. As well as having this ATGM, which has 600mm of pen for 700 damage. The reload on it is very slow at 25 seconds, but it does hit quite hard, and then add into the fact that you've got this main clip as well, and you will have a great time with the Ignis Purgatio's assassination capabilities. I love this tank, honestly. I mean, it's got really good concealment as well. It's got 226 meters of still concealment, 273 on the move. Actually, it's lower than that. It's 250 with the silent driving, which is great. It means it takes quite a bit for you to get spotted, and usually by the time they're spotted you, it's too late, as you're coming in to assassinate all of their hit points. You've got 561 meters of view range as well, which means you do get to spot the enemy targets quite far out. You've got 71 km/h top speed with a 25 km/h reverse speed. 34.56 horsepower per ton ratio means you are hitting that top speed. Wow, those shots went absolutely everywhere. That's what this gun is like, by the way, at range. You've just seen it there. It is pretty atrocious. Oh, that's going to hit the building. Well played, me. Yeah. This gun is atrocious at range, but it is very quick. It gets up to its top speed pretty quickly. I can't state how much I love this tank. It is such a fun tank to play, honestly, the Ignis Purgatio. It's so much fun. So what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment on the Ignis Purgatio? Well, in terms of crew and equipment, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, Camouflage Expertise, Silent Driving, and Deadeye. Deadeye for the memes, because you are having a lot of rounds enter an enemy's tank, which means you're increasing your chance of doing module damage by 6%, which is definitely something not to be sniffed at, because the likelihood of setting people on fire or damaging Ammarax is a lot higher with that, which is great. The 3 gun perks to make this derpy-ass gun as good as possible. The steady aim, the camouflage expertise and the silent driving to make it so that it takes a lot longer for them to be able to spot me, and therefore I can get in and assassinate easier in the Purgatio, which is exactly what we want to be doing. Because, I mean, you might be like, well, true vision's the thing, right? Camo means nothing. Well, it does, because naturally, if you're not getting spotted, they have to physically see you. So if you're coming from behind and they're not looking that way, they could miss you quite easily. But if you get spotted, well, they'll be like, oh, is there something behind me coming up on the map, right? And so that's why you want to focus on the camo for this thing. And we run the camo net, the optics, and the traction system. Traction system to get us up to that 71.5 kilometers an hour top speed that we have with the build. The camo net to knock us down to that 226 meters of still concealment. And again, the gun stabilizer to make sure that this gun is as good as humanly possible, because it is tragic at times, this gun, and you really do want to help it out as much as possible, because it is an assassination gun. You have to be up close and personal for it to truly work. So this first game you're seeing here, we've managed to get 9,000, nearly 10,000 damage, 231 assistance, and I go, oh boy, I'm screwed. And the Conqueror, unfortunately, just sneaks up on us and gets the shot into killers. But we finished the game with a victory, and we finished with 3 kills, 10,082 damage, 231 assistance. The first class, the Confederate, the high caliber, with 1,716 base XP. Really nice game there for the Ignis Purgatio on Siegfried Line. Showing off what it can do. Again, it's all about that assassination gameplay. It is an absolute assassin of a tank, the Ignis Purgatio. And it is so good at it. It's just so deadly. But once again, it's picking and choosing your targets. You can't just go in on 3 tanks and expect to come out a victor of that, right? Because you've not got the speed. Well, you do have the speed, 71 kilometers an hour, right? But you are as big as a house, right? Well, maybe an exaggeration, because it's not the big, it's not the new Rogel Dawn, for example, but it is a big tank. The Batchat is an easy target to hit, and especially for the guns in Era 2, which are superiorly accurate. Yeah, you are going to get hit as soon as you get spotted if you're not careful. So you want to be going, okay, this guy's my target, he's alone, that's what we're going to go after. Or tanks like this BMP that go very aggressive very early, and you can make them pay for it, although clearly not, because I missed most of my shots. This kind of engagement is where it's a little bit awkward for the Ignis Purgatio, because this kind of corner fight is not what it's about. It's all about finding that isolated one target. And if you do end up in this sort of scenario, it can be a little bit awkward as well, because naturally, like I say, your reload for the ATGM is 25 seconds, well, 24.75 seconds, which is long. And if you end up stuck in a cycle, which can happen for this vehicle, where you're reloading the clip as well as the ATGM, it can feel like it's taking forever to get the reload, and especially in Era 2, which is quite quick sometimes, you can feel how quite bad the reloads can be. Because the clip reload for this tank is also 31.5 seconds, which is a long time. It's a long time to put this clip in. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's good that it's that long, because this clip is phenomenal, and obviously doing nearly 3k damage in one clip, that's a lot of damage to put in one clip, right? So, yeah, you end up having a very long reload. The shell velocity on the standard APDS, by the way, is 1,280 meters a second, with 1,430 meters a second on the premium round, which means you are much better firing the premium round at range, because you won't have to leave the targets quite as much. But like I say, you don't want to be firing at range in the Ignis Purgatio, because you've just seen it again on that T72, where as soon as you fire, if you fire too quickly, the gun goes everywhere, and it likes to hit the floor a lot. You have to really be quite close in for it to work. Again, that true assassin gameplay, that's the way it is. If you're trying to auto-load people at distance in this tank, it just doesn't work. So we try and ATGM the 6B GAL there, but the Magak just said, ah, lol, I see your ATGM and I raise you Spaced Armour. And unfortunately, Spaced Armour wins against ATGMs most of the time, but he gets shut down by our friends. We're now going full auto on the 30B and the Object 120, and we clip both of them out. 2 kills in the blink of an eye, just like that. Up to 4.5k damage. There's 8 tanks left on the enemy team, and because we weren't having anything else to shoot at this point, I thought, you know what, okay, we're just going to go straight for the reload of the main cannon, and then we can chase after these tanks. So the T-72AV sees us coming and gets a shot into us. I was thinking about firing the ATGM at the AV, but, you know, it's an AV. T-72 AVs are very good against the ATGMs. And again, we see the 30B. So that T-72 AV is a deadly target for us. I'm not going to do too well against the T-72 AV, so I decided, no. The AV is not my target. This 30B that's gone across the bridge, however, absolutely. We popped smoke to keep us covered from the people behind us, because they could start shooting me in the... So this was all a plan, by the way. When I went for that 30B, I flicked my gun round, shot the smoke out my cannon, so that none of the campers behind us, where that AV or the bandit or the light tank was, so that they couldn't see me while I clipped out the 30B. That is what you have to do sometimes with the smoke to make sure that you're safe from everyone else. So we paced the shots there. We got a few more shots into that 30B too. We managed to pick up the kill on the 2AV a minute ago, and we're up to 7.1k damage with 1200 assistance. There's 3 tanks left. The T-72AV, the Bandit, and whatever that light tank was. So you see us cleverly there with the ATGM. We pulled... Oh! Oh no! There goes his head! Oh no, Mr. AV! Well, that's raid boss down. He was the one that I was going to struggle with. So, really cleverly there with the ATGM, what we did was we pulled back behind the building, fired the ATGM round the building so that the T-72AV couldn't spot us, and then pulled back through the building so that we could see the AV, guide the ATGM on target, and we weren't spotted because we were in cover when we fired it. And then, well, we got lucky. We popped his lid. We're now going for the Bandit, who we accidentally ram, but it's like it's mine. And we get the 5th kill of that game, and we finished the game with a really nice total for the Ignis Purgatio. We finished with the victory, 5 kills, 12,217 damage, 1,225 assistance, Ace Tanker, the Confederate, the High Caliber, the Fire and Forget medal, 2,030 base XP. A really great game for the Ignis Purgatio, which is an amazing little tier 8, not tier 8, an amazing Era 2 premium tank, which is part of the Warhammer 40k collaboration that you can earn for free. You can either earn the Teefbreaka or the Ignis Purgatio. For me, personally, I'd pick the Purgatio, but it depends whether you like World War II or whether you like Cold War. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching, or I'll see you next time.
Great success!